Hello and welcome to the Dr. Mumbi Show. My name is Dr. Mumbi Saraki. How are you doing? How's everything going? I really do pray that you are well in all your ways and that you are living your best life. Thanks to every single person that is subscribed to the channel. You guys are amazing. Go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. Don't forget to like and share the videos with family and friends. Thank you so much for everyone who has moved with us here on Dr. Mumbi Live and also those who have subscribed to the Dr. Mumbi Show. We're back this week, stronger than ever, and we really do give thanks and praise to the Most High just for everything he has done in this season and how he has, aligned everything. Now, there's a lot that's happening around this and this epic pandemic, this epic false flag. And it's very aware of us to know. I keep saying there's a secret society war going on, and the globalists are going full throttle in introducing the New World Order. Now, they have been saying that something is going to happen in the last week of April. We're waiting to see. Some say the great Messiah is going to return. We saw the Pope relinquish his name as the Vicar of God or something like that, which is literally like relinquishing his title. A lot of people are saying that the divided states is no longer under the control of Trump, but is now under the control of the Rothschilds and the secret societies because, Fauci, whoever that, he's a career diplomat who was put in place to be dictating this at such a time as this. And we can also, the globalist agenda, they've made it so blatant. And, the reason it's so blatant, it's so that those of us with eyes can see and those of us with ears can hear and make the necessary moves. Because most recently, the United Nations Secretary General, Antonio Guterres, he said that only a COVID-19 vaccine will allow the world to return to normalcy. And we've also seen, self-appointed global health expert Bill Gates, whose father was also in charge of Planned Parenthood. And he's had the eugenics gene for so long. And, his whole agenda is to depopulate Africa. So when I went to the African Union 2 years ago, and one of the chief guests was Bill freaking Gates, I knew. Our governments are not ours. Like, really, we have to start almost seeing the government as the enemy because they're bought out, they're sold out. And now they have no power. The power has been taken from them. So he released a statement where he said, a safe and effective vaccine may be the only tool that can return the world to a sense of normalcy, saving millions of lives and countless of trillions of dollars, which trillions of dollars have already been lost. And what people are not focusing on is that the economic manipulation that this lockdown has done, because in one fell swoop, it has taken away all the small and medium industries and enterprises, because many of them will be forced to close down after this lockdown. And it's very telling that not here in Africa, but in the West, the only markets that are open are these, massive, corporate organizations, which are the faceless, corporations that are kind of another tool for the New World Order agenda. And so he actually said, the sad thing is, oh my God, this makes it even worse, is that he actually said this when he was having a video conference with 50 or so African countries who are members of the United Nations. So we've been seeing a lot of these presidents having these, conference call meetings. The East African presidents did it a couple of weeks ago. I think the Eritrean president was missing from that one, but they held this video conference over their emergency response as a region. But now 50 or something, nations, we're not sure if it was the president or whoever, tuned into this conference call with this United Nations Secretary General, and he was busy pushing the vaccine. And you see, our people, our presidents are either brotherhood or they're ignorant. That's how you have to look at the presidents of your nation. They do not know what's up. Most of them are 60 plus. And those ones, they sold their souls many, many years ago. And so you cannot rely, you must now, fam, start to become increasingly more self-sufficient so that the government doesn't say jump and you're forced to jump because you haven't planned your life, because you're still relying on them. because something bigger is going to come. I mean, the economic fallout is going to be so epic. I was watching a show yesterday which was talking about how over the weekend there was one day in San Antonio, Texas, where over 10,000 cars lined up for food relief. It's just the beginning, fam. So heed the necessary warnings and know that even with all this information, we can't physically come. We can't physically come and make decisions for you that will save your life. But there is a reason that the Most High is making such information accessible to you. Until next time. Mwah.
Wake up, Africa!
Your Excellency, Mr. Moussa Faki Mohammed, Your Excellencies, Heads of State and Government, Your Excellency, Mr. Antonio Guterres, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. The chance to address this body is a rare and special thing, and I'm deeply grateful for it. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, I also want to thank you and the Ethiopian people again for welcoming you back to your wonderful country and for the example you set with pro-poor policies that are making great progress in health and agriculture. 25 years ago, I received a phone call from Nelson Mandela asking me to help fund South Africa's first free elections. At that time, I was completely focused on my work at Microsoft, thinking about the magic of software, and I honestly knew very little about South Africa or Africa at all. But I had admired Nelson Mandela very much since I was young, and I sensed that the wheels of history were turning on this continent. So I made a donation, and I pledged that soon I would go and learn more. In the years since, particularly since switching my full-time work to the Gates Foundation, I visited Africa every year. At first, I came just as a traveler, but then many of you welcomed me to your countries and sometimes into your homes to learn about the challenges facing your societies and how you were thinking about solving them. These have been remarkable experiences. Yet this is the first time that I felt that history is turning in a similar sort of way. Because between today and the end of the century, almost as many children will be born in Africa than in the rest of the world put together. And the African Union has envisioned a remade continent for them to call home. In these plans, Africa, by 2063, will have many great things: high-speed trains, space program, online universities, roads, all the infrastructure. And it's a fantastic, hopeful vision. And I believe it is achievable. But how? What are the key elements? Obviously, there are physical things like infrastructure, telecom networks. But I think the key element will be the human talent, the people who will engineer the space shuttles, the people who will teach the classes and plan those modern transportation networks. If you look at the year 2063, I'll be 108 years old. Chairman Kagame, you'll be a bit younger, 106. So I don't think our generation will be the ones performing those jobs. Instead, I think Mandela had the answer. History will judge us, he said, by the difference we make in the everyday lives of children. Yesterday, the African leaders came together to talk about investing in people, and particularly the health of the next generation. These investments are critical. It's by having healthy children that they can go on and get a great education and make these contributions. 19 years ago, my wife and I started our foundation with the money that we'd been lucky enough to earn through Microsoft. Our goal was to give every person in the world a chance to live a healthy and productive life. We didn't know at that time exactly how we'd go about it. We learned about vaccines and that new ones were required. We learned that there were some that weren't getting out, particularly to the poorer children, including in Africa. We decided to put money into contraceptives for young women, into seeds for higher yield crops, and into polio drops for children so that we could wipe out the disease of polio from the face of the earth. Along the ways, we learned a great deal, how to pool foreign aid from many countries, both to coordinate programs and to lower drug prices. We learned how to track diseases using advanced digital tools. And I believe the whole endeavor of health and health aid had become far more rigorous, far more measured, far more business-like and impactful. In the early 2000s, for example, the world didn't have a good estimate for how many people were dying of malaria. Today, we not only know how many malaria cases there have been, we have strong forecasts of how many they will be and where they will be in the future. And that gives us a guide of where to intervene to reduce those deaths. So this data guides us and it shows us that the investments in people, the investments in health are working. Over these last 20 years, we put over $15 billion into fighting poverty and disease on the continent. And although that seems like a large number, a much larger number is the economic benefit. When it comes to buying and delivering basic medicines, every dollar invested here has generated 20 more in social and economic benefits. And that's a return that's right up there with all the other possible investments. And in fact, I would say it's a necessary investment. It turns out that a shot of vaccine in a child's arm is also a shot of adrenaline into the heart of an economy over time. Of course, it's not just health, although that's where we specialize. We also work in agriculture, education, and quality work there is super important. We need programs that help farmers sell their produce to a wider market, technologies that help people transact in a very efficient digital way. All of this empowers people to pick themselves up. All of this is what economists call human capital. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I believe that the African Union can achieve its highest ambitions to remake the continent for the next generation. But a key will be making smart investments in human capital. Our foundation has spent 2 decades on the continent partnering with governments to do that. We've had great success in lots of places, including Rwanda, Ethiopia. We're working in Nigeria to improve the primary health care in the north. We're working with South Africa to bring down the burden of HIV and TB and to invent new tools using the great scientists there. We stand ready to continue to help, to use our resources, our time, and our expertise for this cause. 25 years ago, when I picked up that phone, I couldn't have imagined that the main topic I would work on is health in Africa. But because of his call and his example, that's what I find myself doing today. And so, although a lot of time has passed, whenever there's a call like that, particularly if it's about how we can help in health, I want to respond and do everything I can to help you achieve your vision. Thank you.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up.